Hi YouTube, it's ACDodd here and welcome to another episode of On the Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. And this time we've got 3 cars for you. Let's get stuck in. So here we are, leafy Ashford. We've got a lovely Mini Clubman. Nice original car. Beautiful. And under the bonnet we have an A+ 998, so it's not original. This one's got a servo, 1.5" HS4 carb. Customer's already fitted a high power 0.8 ohm coil, power spark dizzy, and all the right bits and pieces. But as you can hear, we're not running smoothly. We have a misfire. So the first thing we need to do is to determine what that misfire is before we can move forward with the tune. So when you hear an engine and it's running like that, irregular, with a regular miss, you know that you've got a problem which we need to fix before we can tune. Right, this is Rob, and Rob owns this lovely Clubman. So why have you called me down today, Rob?
Well, I've been watching you on YouTube for a long time, really impressed by the work. Mini's been running like a bag of spanners for a while. I've had one of your carbs, which has been great, but we've still got some issues. So.
Okay, so yeah, it's worth mentioning there, Rob's already been in contact with me, so he's had a carburetor and there's a few other things he's already fitted, like the high power ignition, so he's still having running problems, which I assume is down to tuning. So let's dig in and see what we can find.
Great.
So the source of the misfire, obviously Rob's changed all the ignition, so we've got a high power coil, we've got a new power spark dizzy, we've got new leads, and the only thing I can see wrong here is we've got some BP6 spark plugs. Now this engine, which we haven't shown you yet, it does smoke. So because it's got 6s in it and it's a relatively standard engine, these are a little bit cold, and the fact it's burning oil. So effectively what we've done is one of these plugs have got sooted up. So I just did a power balance test while the engine's running, which basically involves, you know, carefully removing the HT leads while the engine's running so you don't get an electric shock. Bearing in mind this is a high power ignition system, so if you get a bolt off this, you know about it. So one of the things I don't recommend is you do that at home, because you need to make sure if you've got pacemakers or weak hearts, getting a bolt off of this system is not recommended. Anyway, I did a power balance test, and sure enough, as I moved the HT lead and removed it, the engine you know, didn't change note. It was still missing. So putting it back on, still missing. But what you can do is just vary the position at the height of that lead, and what that does is it momentarily will increase the voltage on that plug, which I did, and in this case the misfire went away. So that indicates that we've just got a dirty plug. So what I'm going to do is put a set of BP5s in it, and then everything should report for duty, and the plug should stay cleaner once we set the mixture properly. So let's get that done. So one of the plugs that come out on the left, which is BP6ES, and a new spark plug which is the BP5ES on the right. The difference is the heat range. So what we're looking at here is this plug will run hotter. Now this engine's smoking, so it actually needs help in order to keep its plugs clean. So by running the right grader plug means that the end of this will run warmer, and it will help clean off the any deposits that come from the normal combustion process. So that's why it's important to have the right grade of plugs so they stay cleaner and prevent misfires. Now on the other hand, if that was too warm, maybe if you fitted a BP4, you'd overheat the spark plug. So you want the hottest spark plug, you want to run the hottest spark plug you can, consistent with not melting, and you know, which keeps the end of the electrode clean. So that's why we're going from a 6 down to a 5 on this application. Okay, same car, the only difference is we leaned out the mix and changed the spark plugs to the correct heat range. just replaced the spark plugs, put the 5s in, baseline the mixture, and listen to that. Idles perfectly now. So what we're going to do is check the ignition timing, and then we'll move on to the carburetor. Okay, check the timing. Timing wise, it was running pretty good actually. We had 8 degrees on it and 32 full in. So I've left the timing exactly where the owner had left it. Now we're going to switch our attention to the brand new HS4 rebuilt ACDodd carb. Let's get that dialed in. So, got the tune finished. Now, considering that was a misfiery chuffing engine, we've come a long way. So, it's now ready for a test drive. Okay, so Rob's been out in his car, but before he tells us about how it goes after the test drive, you can already see he's got a smile on, which is excellent. Tell us what it was doing before I tuned it.
Well, it was pretty much undrivable. You know, you used to put the foot down and it just bogged down. It was backfiring through the carburettor. It was just a nightmare to drive. Changing, you know, in the first to try and get it to run. So yeah, it was awful.
Okay, so now you've been out in it after I've tuned it. What's it like now?
I mean, considering it's a bit worn out, we know that it's flying. It's absolutely flying. I'm doing faster speeds down on the fast roads than I've ever done before. It's good in all through the gears. It's good at part throttle. It's amazing.
So excellent.
Completely different car.
So it's a night and day change, is what you say?
Night and day, absolutely
excellent.
Night and day.
All right, and no flat spots?
No flat spots. Pulls pretty well for a 1 litre engine, so yeah, really pleased.
Yeah, okay, and that's one thing you've mentioned there is your one is burning a bit of oil, so there's a bit of smoke coming out the back. So we've discussed about a new engine at some point, yeah. So that's fair enough. Anyway, thanks for inviting me down, and thanks for getting me to look at your car.
Thanks, and thoroughly recommend this service to anyone who's interested.
Thank you very much. Okay, so next car, it's one that we've seen before. So this was on the Essex tuning day. So I think the owner's bought this in today because he's done the bits and pieces that I recommended before. So let's just refresh ourselves of what we've got. So under the bonnet, we've got a lightly modified original A+ engine, but this one has got a Cooper head on it. So and it's also running a Ducelia points ignition, so it's all standard factory fare, and the carburettor has been rebuilt. So let's go and speak to the owner and see why he's bought it in today. Right, this is Phil. So some of you might remember Phil from such productions as the Essex Mini Tuning Day. Anyway, Phil's caught up with me again today. So why have you brought it back in today, Phil?
So it's an opportunity just to finish the good work that you did back in probably back end of last year. So I needed to have the carb rebuilt. The vacuum advance was knackered basically, so I've replaced that, rebuilt the carb.
Wonderful.
And put a fuel filter on there.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity just to finish the tune.
Oh, you're one of those customers that's done exactly what we mentioned, which is excellent.
And I even made sure the gaps on the spark plugs were right as well. So fantastic. So really learning from that.
Excellent.
So
all right.
Just an opportunity to finish the job, really.
Excellent. Well, let's dig in and see if we can get it even better for you.
Brilliant, thanks.
So, in terms of where we are with this one, distributor was absolutely fine. Dwell angle's all good. It's running the original points. Got the right coil on it. The only thing I did was change the spark plugs, just because the ones out of it were running just a touch rich. And that's because the carburettor itself has been rebuilt, so it's got a rebuilt carb with my original needle. And as usual, by rebuilding the carburettor after I've done a needle for it, this needle is now a little bit rich. So we're going to make a new needle for the carb. Going back to the timing, we had where the owner has put in a replacement advance can, vacuum advance can. We were running a little bit too much advance, so I've taken 6 degrees off the timing. So we'll get a new needle made for that, and hopefully that will bring the fueling under control. The last thing I noticed as well, on this one is that the acceleration enrichment is just too much. So whereas before the carburetor was rebuilt, 2050 oil was good, he's still running the same oil, but now we're just too rich. So I think we need to come down to maybe 1040 or so, but we'll try that once we make a new needle for it. Okay, so where we've had this, I've tuned this before, the customer has gone away and rebuilt his carburetor, so he's brought it back just to get it set up again, and this time I have a problem, because the problem I've now got is the original needle, as I told the individual, would likely be too rich, which it turns out it is. So what we've done is we've had to replace the needle, and we've made another one to fuel this properly, and now we've got a fueling curve which is superb. So we're going to send him out in it and see what he thinks. Okay, so Phil's been out in his car. What's it like now?
Oh, it's fabulous, actually. Much improved.
Excellent.
And that kind of top end speed, 60, 70 miles an hour, it's still pulling, runs really beautifully.
Excellent.
So I'm
Okay.
dead chuffed.
All right, so obviously we looked at this car in Essex, and we've and since then you rebuilt the carb, so thanks very much for taking my advice, and obviously you fitted a new vacuum unit on the distributor. So
Absolutely.
it is interesting that sometimes when you rebuild the carb, the needle we made before wasn't any good, so we had to start again.
We did.
Did you find that any of that surprising?
Yeah, I was really surprised, actually. I thought, to be honest, having done the work in Essex, you'd just kind of be building on that, but in actual fact you had to go back to square one and then go through the whole process again. And actually, thank you for doing that, because it wouldn't have got the car to where it is today, so I really appreciate that.
That's all right. Anyway, the main thing is I'm glad that you can enjoy your car, and thanks for bringing it down.
No, perfect. Thanks, Adrian.
So today I'm down in Maidstone. I've got this beautiful Morris Minor Traveller. Let's go and have a look round. So having a look inside, look at that. As basic and utilitarian as it gets, in beautiful condition. So under the bonnet we have a 1098 powerhouse with, it's all in standard condition, so I believe, apart from the addition of a K&M filter on the HS2 carb. So what we're going to do now is have a quick word with the owner and see why he's called us down. So this is Stuart, he's the owner of this lovely Morris Traveller. So why have you called us down today, Stuart?
Although it runs fine, it's running rich all the time. It's a little bit lumpy, low end, and it loses power going up hills.
Okay, so it's sort of the usual ailments that a lot of people ask me about when they come around to a tune-up. So let's have a dig in and see what we can find, and see if we can make that go better for you.
Well,
Okay, so we've got yet another A series that's running very rich. So just took the spark plugs out. We've also got a set of 6s in this one, so we're going to change these to a set of 5s. Again, they're not that old, but you know, the way the engine's running, it's not done them any good. So we'll put some 5s in it, and should make this run a little bit better. So idle, we've got 34 degrees. So what we need to do is, I'll also check that at full revs, and then we need to adjust that timing so that we get the engine running properly. So at full advance, I've got 52 degrees of advance at the crankshaft, so we can see what the major problem with this engine is. We can also listen. It's popping in the exhaust, and that's an indication that we've got too much advance, and we've got too much advance at full advance as well. So we need to drastically reduce that and then see what we get. Okay, so with those timing figures in mind, what the owner has decided to do now is to go and replace the distributor. So although he's got an electronic unit in there at the moment, he's only running a 3-ohm coil. So he's opted for a high power 0.8 ohm setup. We can run 35,000 plug gaps and using one of my Power Spark but ACDodd recurved new distributors. So let's get that installed. So what we've done, I've now fitted all the, we've got the 45D Dizzy now fitted. which is a Power Spark unit with an ACDodd recurve. It's got, obviously, it comes with a vacuum unit on there, which we've now connected up. We've got a Viper dry coil, 0.8 ohm, and we've got the new plugs that we had earlier, which I've now gapped to 35 thou, and then topped it off with a nice set of green leads. Again, Power Spark. So now we turn our attention to the carburettor. Right, so we've got this one running. So that engine has responded really well to tuning, so now let's send the owner out here and see what he thinks. Right, so Stuart's been out in his car, so we can see the smile clearly. All right, so what's it like now, Stu?
Oh, it's a different car, totally different. Smiles per miles, I would say. It's I'm not worried about going to hills. Put your foot down, and it just goes up them. It's brilliant, lovely.
Excellent.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, wonderful. So obviously more power.
Yep.
No flat spots.
No flat spots.
Excellent.
No, picks up and goes.
Yeah, it even sounds quite aggressive when you throttle this one as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whether it's at their air filter, but
I noticed it when I throttled it after we put the distributor in, that you was like, wow, it's never sounded like that before.
Yeah, it never sounded like that.
It's amazing what happens when you put the right parts on and the right advance curve, and obviously now with the fueling, gives you the complete package.
Yeah.
Anyway, would you recommend this to any other Morris Minor owners?
Without a doubt, definitely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, because it's amazing actually. We haven't changed anything on that engine. It's all still standard manifolds, exhaust, and everything. The only modification you have really is the K&N air filter, but it's surprising how well it now goes. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Definitely don't sound like the same car.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Brilliant.
Well, thanks for inviting me down, and I'm glad that I was able to make such an improvement.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Brilliant.
So, a lot of people ask me what how the spark plug burns. Well, he's been out for 2 test drives now, as you can see. That's nice and white and burning beautiful. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Out of that batch, there's a couple of interesting cars. Obviously, the one in the middle there, the white Mini, that had a new carburettor, and it just goes to show that when you do any carburettor work after tuning, in this case, it is true that you generally find that if a needle has been manufactured or made to suit a carburettor, as soon as you change the parts in that carburettor, that needle would no longer suit that application. So I had to make a new needle to make that car run sweet, which it did. And then the last car there, which was the old Morris Minor, that really transformed into a very lively machine once we'd done the simple tuning modifications to it. And it just goes to show, what sort of a beast lies within when it comes to having me out to come and release any hidden power that's there. The old Morris Minors never cease to amaze me about how well they run once they've been tuned. Anyway, as ever, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.